Let me tell you something real today. It's not about being the smartest. It's not about being the fastest. It's not even about being the most talented. It's about being consistent. The difference between people who make it happen and those who keep dreaming about it, one word. You want to be consistent? Start with your why. I mean, really, do you know why you're doing what you're doing? Because if you don't, you'll quit the moment it gets hard. You'll flake the second your feelings shift. You'll disappear when the excitement fades, and it will fade. Passion can start the fire, but purpose is what keeps it burning. Without a clear why, you're chasing shadows. And that's what most people are doing. They set goals because they sound good or they look good on paper or because someone else told them that's what success looks like. But there's no real connection. There's no heart in it. And if your heart's not in it, your habits won't follow. So your why has to be something that grips you, something that gets under your skin and shakes you when you want to give up. I'm talking about the kind of reason that will keep you working through the night, pushing past rejection, rising after failure. Not because you like the process, but because the outcome matters that much to you. Your why should keep you awake. Your why should bring tears to your eyes. Your why should make quitting feel like betrayal. And listen, don't lie to yourself about what your why is. Don't dress it up to impress other people. Don't borrow someone else's dream and wear it like it's your size. Get real with yourself. For some people, their why is their family. They want to break the cycle. They want to give their kids something better than they had. For others, it's freedom, financial, emotional, creative. They're tired of being trapped in a life that feels too small. And for some, it's legacy. They don't want to just live. They want to matter. They want to leave something behind that echoes after they're gone. It doesn't matter what your why is, as long as it's yours, as long as it means something to you. Because when your why is real, when it's rooted in something deeper than pride or ego or temporary hype, you become dangerous. You become focused. You stop entertaining distractions. You stop settling for average. You start walking like someone on a mission. And you don't have to announce it. You don't have to prove anything. You're just consistent because you can't afford not to be. The truth is, clarity gives you power. When you know your why, you can endure almost anyhow. You can survive seasons where nothing makes sense because you know what you're building. You can stay disciplined when you're tired because you know what's on the other side of your effort. You can say no to good things because you're aiming for something great. That's the power of clarity. That's the power of purpose. And don't expect everyone to understand your why. It's not theirs to understand, it's yours to carry. Some people will call you obsessed. Some will say you're doing too much. Let them talk. You've got work to do. You've got something worth fighting for. And when it gets hard, and it will, you won't fold because your why will remind you of what's at stake. That's how consistency is born, not from hype, not from motivation, but from a deeply personal reason that refuses to be ignored. A reason that's louder than your excuses, bigger than your fear, stronger than your doubt. If you're serious about being consistent, you've got to get ruthless about distractions. I'm not talking about just turning off your phone for an hour or logging out of Instagram once a week. I'm talking about making real decisions about what you allow into your space, into your mind, into your schedule. Because you cannot stay focused if you're constantly surrounded by noise. And in this world, everything is designed to steal your attention. Notifications, opinions, temptations, entertainment that's meant to keep you numb and comfortable. But success doesn't live in comfort. Consistency doesn't grow in chaos. If you want to stay on track, you've got to learn how to protect your focus like it's your most valuable asset, because it is. Most people don't fail because they're incapable. They fail because they're distracted. They start strong, but then they let small things pull them off course. One conversation, one toxic relationship, one random opportunity that doesn't even align with their purpose, and suddenly they're drifting, not because they don't have potential, but because they didn't have boundaries. You need to understand something. Every distraction has a cost. Time, energy, clarity, progress. You pay every time you allow something meaningless to interrupt something meaningful. That scroll that turns into an hour, that drama that steals your peace, that habit that breaks your rhythm, all of it takes from you. And here's the truth, you can't eliminate distractions if you still enjoy them too much. If you secretly love the escape more than you love the goal, you'll keep choosing short-term pleasure over long-term purpose. And that's a hard pill to swallow. You've got to be honest with yourself. Are you really busy, or are you just constantly distracted? Are you really overwhelmed, or are you just over-consuming things that don't serve your vision? You've got to get clear on what's helping you and what's holding you back. Because you can't afford to waste your focus on things that don't build you. It's not just about social media. It's about people. It's about conversations. It's about thoughts. Some of the most dangerous distractions don't come from the outside. They come from within. Doubt is a distraction. Overthinking is a distraction. Comparing yourself to everyone else is a distraction. You need to filter your mind like you filter your diet. Not everything deserves to be consumed. Not every voice deserves your attention. Not every opportunity is aligned with your assignment. So what do? You simplify, you get lean, you cut the clutter, you stop trying to be everywhere and please everyone. You pick your lane and you stay in it. You turn your phone off when you're working. You stop checking your messages every 5 minutes. You create time blocks, you build routines, you design an environment where focus isn't something you fight for, it's something that flows naturally. And don't let people make you feel guilty for it. You don't owe anyone constant access to your attention. You don't owe the world updates every 5 minutes. You owe yourself discipline. You owe yourself peace. You owe yourself the space to grow. The more distractions you eliminate, the more dangerous you become, because now you're not scattered, you're sharp. You're not reactive, you're intentional. You're not busy, you're effective. And the most powerful version of you will not be built in a whirlwind of noise. It will be forged in silence, in solitude, in focused, uninterrupted effort. So if you're really about being consistent, start by removing what's stealing your ability to focus. Because anything that costs you your consistency is too expensive to keep. Everybody wants to start at the top. Everybody wants the spotlight, the results, the applause, but nobody wants to do the small, steady work that actually builds those results. The truth is, consistency doesn't come from going hard one time. It comes from showing up all the time. You don't need to make massive moves every single day. You need to make meaningful ones. Small steps repeated over and over again will always beat big leaps that only happen once in a while. That's where real power is. That's where real progress lives. But most people ignore the small steps because they're not exciting. They don't feel like they're doing enough. They want to skip the foundation and go straight to the finish line. But let me tell you, skipping steps will always cost you more later. You want to be consistent? Start small, but stay steady. Stack wins, build habits, create momentum. It's not about how big you go on day one. It's about how long you can keep going once the hype is gone. People underestimate what they can do in a year of daily effort, and they overestimate what they can do in a weekend of hype. That's why they start and stop. That's why they get motivated, then disappear. They go all in for a week, then burn out, because their foundation wasn't strong. And that foundation is built with small daily decisions. It's that choice to wake up early, that decision to read instead of scroll, that commitment to finish what you started, even when no one is watching. It's not glamorous, but it's growth. You build trust with yourself when you stay consistent with the small things. That's how confidence grows. You don't get confident from a motivational quote or a hype video. You get confident from keeping promises to yourself, from doing the things you said you'd do every single day, even when you don't feel like it. That's how you build discipline. That's how you build identity. You start to believe you are who you say you are because your actions prove it. And don't worry if nobody's clapping yet. Don't worry if it looks like nothing's happening. That's how growth works, in silence, in the background, beneath the surface. The world sees the results, but it never sees the reps. It never sees the late nights, the early mornings, the boring, repetitive work that consistency requires. But that's the good stuff. That's the magic. That's where greatness is formed. If you're waiting until you feel like it to take action, you've already lost. Your feelings aren't reliable. They change by the hour. You can't build a future on a mood swing. You build it on discipline. You build it on commitment. You build it by showing up over and over again, even when the fire isn't burning, even when the room is empty, even when the results aren't instant. That's the price. And if you can stay small and steady, the results will take care of themselves. So stop chasing motivation. Stop chasing big moments. Start chasing consistency. Start valuing the little wins, because the truth is, consistency compounds. What looks small today will look unstoppable tomorrow. One day it's 10 pages, then it's a book. One day it's 5 sales calls, then it's a business. One day it's 15 minutes of practice, then it's mastery. That's how it works. Quiet, steady, relentless. One of the biggest enemies of consistency is the illusion of perfection. Too many people are paralyzed because they think if it's not perfect, it's not worth doing. They wait for the perfect time, the perfect strategy, the perfect mindset, the perfect conditions, and while they wait, life keeps moving. Time keeps passing, opportunities keep slipping away. But consistency doesn't require perfection. It requires progress. And if you can just keep moving, even in imperfection, you'll go farther than most people who are stuck trying to get everything just right. You don't have to be flawless. You just have to be faithful. You just have to keep showing up. Messy effort will always outperform perfect procrastination every single time, because movement creates momentum. Even if it's not ideal, even if you fumble, even if you fall flat on your face, the person who's willing to make mistakes and keep going will always outpace the person who's afraid to try. You want to be consistent? Let go of perfection. Let go of the fear of not getting it exactly right. Progress is the goal. Growth is the win. And listen, you're going to mess up. You're going to fall off. You're going to have days where you don't feel like it, where you don't hit the mark, where you break the streak. That doesn't mean you failed. That doesn't mean you start over. It just means you're human. Consistency isn't about never slipping. It's about not quitting. You get back up. You adjust. You recommit. That's what separates the committed from the curious. Curiosity fades when things get tough. Commitment adapts. Commitment stays in the fight. Some people talk themselves out of consistency because they're too focused on how far they have to go. They look at the mountain and forget that every step counts. Every rep counts. Every action builds. They discredit the small wins because they're chasing something massive. And if it doesn't look like success yet, they assume it's not working. But that's the wrong lens. You've got to measure your growth, not your gaps. Track your progress. Celebrate the inches, not just the miles, because every step forward matters. Every piece of progress reinforces the identity of someone who keeps going, someone who follows through. The truth is, perfection is a trap. It convinces you to stay stuck. It convinces you to wait, to hide, to delay your greatness. It tells you to hold back your gift until you've polished it. But your gift grows in the process. It sharpens with use. You get better by doing, not by thinking about doing. You get stronger through the reps, not through the research. There's a place for learning, but don't let learning become a way to avoid the work. Take the shot, make the move, learn as you go. Let your progress teach you what perfection never will, that showing up consistently is what actually transforms you. And be kind to yourself while you grow. You're not going to get it all right. You're going to trip. You're going to learn some things the hard way. That's okay. Give yourself grace, but give yourself structure too. Don't excuse your way out of the work, but don't shame yourself for being in process either. You are not behind. It's not clean. It's messy and gritty and real, but it's yours. And if you keep choosing it day by day, you will rise. You can't rely on motivation to carry you. That's the biggest mistake people make. They think if they can just get hyped enough, they'll stay consistent. But motivation is a mood. It's fleeting. It fades. Some days you'll feel like a beast, and other days you won't even want to get out of bed. You can't build your future around a feeling. You've got to build it around structure. And structure means routine, a system, a rhythm you don't break, a way of moving through your day that supports your goals, not just when it's convenient, but always. Routine is what catches you when discipline is weak. It's the invisible engine behind consistency. You don't always notice it, but it's doing the heavy lifting. It's what makes the hard things easier over time. And the key is, your routine doesn't need to look like anyone else's. Stop copying other people's schedules like it's a magic formula. What works for them might not work for you. Some people thrive at 5 a.m. Others do their best work after dark. Some need silence. Some need energy. The point is, you need to build a routine that you can sustain, something that matches your personality, your priorities, your season. And building that routine takes honesty. You've got to know your distractions. You've got to understand your patterns. You've got to take inventory of what's helping and what's hurting. Are you spending your best hours on your goals, or are you giving your prime energy away to things that drain you? You can't afford to waste your peak hours scrolling, chatting, or reacting. You've got to get strategic. Block off your focus time, protect your peace, design your day like your life depends on it, because in many ways it does. The reason most people can't stay consistent is because they've got no routine to fall back on. Every day is a random spin of the wheel. Wake up late, scramble through tasks, react to whatever shows up. That kind of life doesn't create results, it creates exhaustion. Consistency thrives in clarity. You shouldn't wake up and wonder what to do. You should know. You should have a plan, a rhythm, a way to flow through your priorities without having to think about it all the time. That's how you conserve mental energy and keep your focus sharp. And don't overcomplicate it. A routine doesn't have to be military strict. You're not a robot, you're human. Give yourself room to adjust, but don't give yourself permission to drift. You can flex, but don't fold. Build in your non-negotiables, the things that must happen every day no matter what. Maybe it's reading, maybe it's writing, maybe it's reaching out to clients, maybe it's prayer, meditation, journaling. Whatever moves you closer to your goal, put it in your routine, lock it in, and do it consistently. It won't be perfect. Some days life will hit you, something will go sideways. That's fine. Reset and keep going. The point isn't to have a perfect day every day. The point is to have a framework that helps you keep showing up. Because when your routine is strong, your excuses get weaker. When your system is solid, your progress speeds up. You start stacking wins without even thinking about it. It becomes who you are, not just what you do. And that's the goal, to turn consistency into identity, to move from trying to be disciplined to simply being someone who doesn't miss, someone who stays in motion, someone who gets it done day in and day out, whether the mood is there or not. If you want to stay consistent, you need accountability, not the kind that babysits you, not the kind that shames you when you fall off, real accountability, the kind that reminds you of who you said you were, the kind that holds the mirror up when you forget your power. You're strong, yes, but no one climbs alone. You need people in your corner who won't let you play small, people who won't accept your excuses, people who see your vision even when you're tired of looking at it yourself. You've got to be careful who you surround yourself with, because your environment is shaping you whether you realize it or not. If you're around people who quit easily, you will start thinking quitting is normal. If you're around people who drift, you'll lose your anchor. But if you stay close to people who are locked in, people who show up, who push forward, who stay sharp, that energy will rub off on you. Iron sharpens iron, but if you're only around plastic, you're going to dull out. You need real ones in your circle, people who inspire you and challenge you at the same time. Accountability isn't just about having someone else check in on you. It's about owning your word. It's about having a standard for yourself that's so strong you don't need someone to remind you, but when you do need it, you've built the relationships that will speak life and truth into you. Sometimes accountability looks like a mentor who calls you out. Sometimes it looks like a friend who asks you straight up, are you doing what you said you would do? Sometimes it looks like a group, a team, a tribe that you report to, not because you're weak, but because you're serious. And listen, accountability starts with you. Before you go looking for someone to keep you in check, ask yourself, are you even being honest with yourself? Are you tracking your progress? Are you reviewing your goals? Are you keeping the promises you made when nobody was watching? Because you can't outsource your discipline. No coach, no friend, no group can save you from the work. They can support you, they can push you, but you still have to move your own feet. Accountability enhances consistency, but it doesn't replace it. So if you really want to grow, make your moves public, not for clout, not to impress, but to create pressure. Tell the people you trust what you're doing. Set deadlines, share your targets, post that you're writing the book, launching the business, hitting the gym, changing your life. Then do the work. Let your word carry weight. Let people see the standard you live by, because when you commit out loud, you burn the bridge back to comfort. You raise the bar. You force yourself to either follow through or explain why you didn't. And don't run from correction. The people who care about you enough to challenge you, those are gifts. Don't get offended when someone calls you higher. Don't take it personal when someone reminds you that you've been slipping. That's love. That's accountability. That's what growth requires. People who co-sign your excuses will never help you reach your potential. But the ones who push you past your patterns, those are the ones who belong in your circle. The ones who remind you that you've got more in you. The ones who won't let you quit on yourself. You want to stay consistent? Build accountability into your life like your success depends on it, because it does. Give people permission to check you. Give them access to your goals. Make it harder to disappear. Make it harder to fall off, because the more visible your commitment is, the stronger your follow-through becomes. And when consistency is backed by accountability, you become a force focused, unstoppable, and fully locked in.